Hello and welcome again. Please excuse my absence. I have been very, very, very busy growing a beard. So very cool thing happening here. Total eclipse. Very historic. There are about 1 million people, I think, coming to my city just to view it. Pretty intense. And they're coming from all over just to witness 4 minutes of, at best, 4 minutes of darkness at a time where it's supposed to be daylight. As I consider myself to be newly Norse, I thought to myself, what is the significance, if any, in Norse culture, in Norse mythology? Well, after doing some digging, it turns out there is, or there just might be. So, there are 2 gods associated with the sun and the moon. Sunna, representing the sun, and Mani, representing the moon. So in my video about Fenrir, I quoted Neil Gaiman, his version of the binding of Fenrir. And in this version, Fenrir threatens Odin that he's going to eat the sun and he's going to eat the moon. Well, according to the Eddas, Fenrir isn't the one eating the sun and the moon. Sunna is being chased by a wolf named Skoll, and Mani is being chased by a wolf named Hati. Hati's name translates roughly to hatred, and Skoll's name translates roughly to treachery. Interesting thing about that. It is believed that Skoll and Hati are actually offspring of Fenrir. How is this possible, though? If Fenrir was bound, and he was bound at a pretty young age, how could he have had offspring? That part is relatively unknown. There is a theory that he mated with a Jotun before being bound, but it's also believed that Skoll and Hati are actually just metaphors for hatred and treachery. That Fenrir actually eats the moon and the sun, and it's his treachery that eats the sun, his hatred that eats the moon. Whatever you may believe, if he did have offspring, it's also believed that Odin noticed this. Odin also noticed one other thing. He noticed that the sun and the moon were not going at a normal pace in the sky. The sun and the moon would just kind of linger for a while. They weren't on any regular cycles as they should have been, which would have, of course, affected crop yield, the seasons. Everything would have been out of whack. So Odin does this. He sends up Mani to pull the moon with a chariot. He then tells Sunna to pull the sun with a chariot. That way, the sun and the moon are always going. Well, that didn't really work out because the sun still liked to stop and admire Midgard, admire the 9 realms for that matter, and the moon would also stop mid-travel. So Odin took the 2 offspring of Fenrir, Hati and Skoll, to chase the sun and the moon. So now we have the sun constantly being chased, we have the moon constantly being chased, and that is what is believed to have caused the sun and the moon to travel. We now know that the sun is the center of our galaxy, but this is what they thought back then. It is said, when Ragnarok kicks off, the sun will be devoured, plunging the world into darkness and chaos, setting into the events of a 3-year-long winter, fire in the sky, you name it, horrible, horrible things happening during Ragnarok. So imagine you are an old Norseman. You believe these things are going to be true, that one day the sun will be eaten by Skoll, and that is going to kick off Ragnarok. If I am an old Norseman, I'm thinking to myself, well, I see the sun being blocked out by something. That wolf is about to eat the sun. Ragnarok is about to happen. So I'm just a random inhabitant of Midgard. What am I going to do about it? I'm watching the sun being eaten. Well, if it's that dire of a situation, I'm going to do everything I can to stop that from happening. I'm going to invite all my friends over. I'm going to give them a great feast in case it is the end of the world, or for that matter, if they successfully stop Ragnarok from happening. And I'm going to get my friends to yell and shout into the sky and bang drums and make big bonfires to scare the wolves away from eating the sun and eating the moon. And from what I've gathered, that's actually what happened. Eclipses were used as a way to not celebrate, but gather and enjoy what we have here while we still have it. So with the eclipse happening, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm not going to scream at the sky. I'm not going to bang on drums. I'm not going to yell and shout. I might be arrested if I try that, because people will think I'm crazy. I'm only a little crazy. So instead, what I'm going to do is give an offering to the gods. I'm going to light my incense. I'm going to light my candle, like I usually do. And I'm going to say a prayer. I'm going to say a prayer and give thanks to the gods for everything that I have been given, all the help they have given me thus far, and being thankful that the world isn't ending. It's an eclipse. In addition to thanking the gods, I'm also going to light some incense the night before the eclipse, and I'm going to put it out so that I can send them some good vibes, send them some positive energy, because I'm sure they are scared that Ragnarok is about to happen. And I am also going to leave out an offering of apple slices for Hati and Skoll in hopes that it will curb their appetite and therefore prevent them from wanting to eat the sun and eat the moon, thus preventing Ragnarok. Thank you for watching, and remember, ek gang, that i, thaimskom, ek valda. See you next time.